Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of The New Norm with Selena Hill on Black Enterprise. Today I'm speaking with entrepreneur, lifestyle specialist, and brand expert, Miss Diddy, who is the founder and CEO of The Brand Group, an LA-based PR marketing agency and events production company. Now, Miss Diddy is known for her work with clients such as Jason Derulo, Baron Davis, Terrence J, Russell Simmons, and Compton Mayor Asia Brown. While her company has secured deals with brands like Lincoln, Hennessy, Neiman Marcus, American Airlines, and the National Basketball Players Association. Thank you so much for joining us today, Miss Diddy.
Thank you, Selena. How are you?
I am well, and you look great. I know the weather in LA is great, so this is a good day.
Yes, it is a good day. And I'm sorry that the weather in New York is cold, but
oh yeah. It is definitely January in New York City.
It's January.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. So, I actually wanted to start by asking you, where did the name Miss Diddy come from?
It's always been a nickname since I was younger. Like everyone in high school and school, they called me Diddy, a lot of my friends. And so it started a very long time ago. Actually, it's funny. I think my first boyfriend, one of my first boyfriend name is Jesse. His cousin Mook actually named me Diddy a long time ago, and it just kind of stuck and it stayed there.
I love it. Now, what was it because of your hustle spirit? Did you have Diddy's dance?
No,
moves?
It wasn't even that. It had nothing to do with him initially. It's kind of play on my real name, and so it just kind of took a life of its own. And thank God I did really dope and good work, because I'm sure Mr. Combs wouldn't have allowed it to continue. So, he's been, of course, an incredible inspiration, moving forward and in life and in my career. And definitely one of the icons I look to and look up to for everything surrounding, marketing, promotion. He's a genius at it, like beyond genius. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. The name is so befitting for you because, like I mentioned in the intro, you have an expansion of work. Your portfolio of work is so heavy when it comes to working with, artists like the late and great Nipsey Hussle to, Hennessy and Ciroc. Like you are the marketing genius behind so many great events and things just going on, movements going on in LA. But before, like, you started working in Hollywood, I read you were working for a corporate insurance company.
Oh, yeah.
And that you loved it.
Oh,
and I kind of wanted to start there, because most people who quit, a 9-to-5 and go into, a passion or a purpose, they hate their job. But you said you loved it and were like, I'm gonna quit anyway. How did that go?
You know what's interesting about that whole concept? Like, me being an entrepreneur, it became this really a lot of energy surrounding entrepreneurship, right? And while I'm a huge advocate for owning your own, becoming your own, and all of those things, I don't say everyone should just do it. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that. I think that it is for a very specific type of person. It is also not for the faint at heart. So if you think it's going to be simple and cool and whatever, you're sadly mistaken. Stay at your 9-to-5. You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting because I was having a conversation with a gentleman recently, and he has a very high level, a very, very high level position. And it's technically he's in a 9-to-5. And he's like, of course, inspired by my entrepreneurship, and like, I really want to do my own thing. Da, da, da. And I'm like, let me ask you a question. He's like, okay. I said, when's the last time you've been uncomfortable? And he's like, I'm always striving for more. I'm uncomfortable, every week. Every time. I said, no, you're not. You have no clue what uncomfortability looks like while you're still working at a 9-to-5. You're not ready yet. You don't understand what it takes to do this. So what the elements I loved about a 9-to-5 is I like structure. I like to be able to do something extremely well. I sold insurance really well. I'm a salesperson all day, all night. And so I worked well at that. I loved people. I like being on time. I like accountability. I like all the recipe and things that actually make you a great entrepreneur. So for me, if you haven't mastered that 9 to 5 yet, it's not time to just jump out and be like, yeah, girl, I'm trying to be an entrepreneur, girl, let's go. It's like, no, that's something totally different. What you feel as an entrepreneur, the pressure, the the pressure to even stay consistent at something, because a lot of people aren't even consistent. The pressure to build something and for it to hopefully be great. The amount of times you roll the dice and you hope you don't crap out, and you have to do it all over and over and over again. And that's what I meant about being uncomfortable when I had that conversation with that gentleman. Until you spent, I'll say, even at a low level, 5,000 to somebody at a low level, and you're not sure whether you're going to get it back or not. This is not for the faint at heart, and that's on a low level. You know what I'm saying? So I love elements about a 9 to 5, and I like. I also deal in respect. I'm big on respect, and I think that what a 9 to 5 teaches you is chain of command, chief in command, things of that nature. In this respect, you must respect your manager, the people around you, things like that. So I love the 9 to 5, but I've always been entrepreneurial spirited. That makes sense.
So you love your 9 to 5. What moved you to leave the job that you love, you were excelling in? And I'm pretty sure you were comfortable to a certain degree.
Yeah, definitely comfortable to a certain degree, but to much at that point, I've never been obsessive over comfortability. That didn't move me, that didn't change me, and that didn't challenge me. And so that comfortableness was not enough. I knew that there was more. But really what moved me to leave, which I always talk about in interviews, is me being a woman of God, because that is the only thing that made me leave. I started to really ask God, like, okay, what we doing? What are you expecting of me? What are you demanding of me? What are you requiring of me? And this lifetime, what am I here to do? And I begged God to release me to the next level. It took a very long time. It wasn't overnight. And so that's ultimately what caused me to leave my job, because one day God was like, all right, you're ready, leave. I swear. And I left. And that was the last day I was ever at my job, to the point I had no clue what I was doing, but I knew I had to go because I knew I heard God's voice tell me. To the point my boss at that time, his name was Robert Giambabo, incredible man, great salesman. I speak about him as well. I love him. We had a great relationship. And he called me. He was like, okay, we get it. I don't know what point you're trying to prove. Come back to work. And I told, like, he really was like, that's how our relationship was. He was like, okay, all right, we get it. I don't know what point you're proving. Time for you to come back to work, you know? And I remember tears in my eyes just telling him on the phone, like, I can't. And he's like, well, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. I have no clue, but I knew that God told me to leave. And that was the time that I left when I was supposed to leave.
That is so powerful, and such a testimony to your faith and how you followed your instincts there. So I read that after you left, you eventually started working in the promotions department of Kanye's Good Music record label when it first started. So how was that transition from working in corporate insurance and now working for Good Music, and that experience in nightlife?
You know what? It wasn't so much a transition, because I always did it on the side. I did always, I'm born and raised in this city, and so we were all doing things. We were all moving around. You know what I mean? I mean, at that time, you're talking about all West Coast artists coming up, your YGs, Dom Kennedy. We had a group called You and I mean, Omarion was who he was. Like, we were all already doing things, right? And so, I was always it girl. Like, I was the popular girl. I was the girl that everyone knew. So, I had great relationships across the board. I'm from Compton, but I went to school in Inglewood as well. So it was just, we all kind of knew each other. And so it was a natural progression for me. It wasn't even a transition as much as it was, oh, that totally makes sense that he's doing that. You know what I'm saying? And so when I started over there, It wasn't even an idea of this is what I want to do. This is the direction I'm going. It was totally just life worked out. And so, Yay at the time, I mean, he was forming, of course, good music, and College Dropout probably his first album probably was about to come out or whatever the case may be. And, he has a cousin named Ricky, who's a great friend of mine since before that time. And so Ricky and my cousin Micah were best friends, still are best friends actually to this day. And they grew up together. And so we all just, knew each other type of thing. And so John Monopoly at the time, who's still my mentor to this day, we just all spent a lot of time together, and that's how it kind of formed into that. So it wasn't like, hey, I want to apply for this job. It was really me taking the natural progression like of my life, and it formed to be that. And so naturally went into promotions, doing the clubs, knew everybody, and it worked out because I've always been really business minded. I didn't know what I was doing the whole way, but I knew what I was doing, if that makes sense.
Okay, so Miss Diddy, when and why did you decide to launch the brand group LA? Because like you said, you've always been entrepreneurial minded. When did you say, I'm going to launch my own business?
It was everything. It's time. It's in time, it's in season, and it's in, I speak about this often too. Like I really go with my gut, my instinct, and what I'm led to do. And that totally comes from God. But when I was doing my parties, and I was partners with great gentlemen who I was promoting with, who I'm still close friends with to this day, and a lot of the guys. And so I started doing All Def Comedy Live with Russell Simmons. And that's when I said, you know what, I have to start my actual company, because also what I learned is that not that you ever really get the recognition you deserve in life. That just doesn't happen. It's a part of the game. But I realized I really wouldn't get the recognition if I didn't do that, if I didn't actually start my company. And so I did that, and I wanted to be a great example to the women standing next to me, and the men that looked up to me, and the women looked up to me. I needed to make sure that I was walking in what they saw in me. If that made sense.
So, and when you did launch it, right? And I know you just talked about All Def Digital, one of your signature events. Yeah. What other events did you, start to create or co-create or have some type of role in? Can you do a few? Because you've done a lot. Do a few stand out? Maybe some career defining moments.
It's so crazy about this because I've done so much in my career that I actually don't see it or understand it until someone's trying to ask me to list things out, because I'm such a worker bee. I'm just gonna work. And okay, we did that, now we're moving past. We did that, now we're moving past. And that's how I've lived my career. So it's so tough. But if you say defining moments, definitely All Def Comedy Live is a huge defining moment. When we created Toxic Day Party with my partners, LA's Finest and the gentleman over there. Supper Club Tuesdays, which was a party here in Los Angeles. And what I learned, say, from Supper Club Tuesdays is that Supper Club was the name of the club. And we branded it, I branded it Supper Club Tuesdays. But when we were ready to change business, to change, say, business models, or separate from the owners in which we were doing Supper Club Tuesday from, we had already branded their club. So we didn't brand a brand, which is why Toxic Day Party was so important, because we were able to take Toxic wherever we want. So I did a deal in New York, and did it during All-Star in New York, and we did a deal in DC, and we did it with the gentleman out of Rose Bar there, and we did a deal in Vegas. So we were able to do that. So promoting those early days, that was definitely defining moments. But events, All Def Comedy Live, my event, Toast to Young Hollywood, my company event. One thing that was really important to me, of course, Nipsey Hussle's album release party for Victory Lap, the most important event I've ever done in my career, for obvious reasons and more reasons beyond that. And also, you know what? Yeah, Those are main ones. And all my community initiatives that I do in my community and content with then Mayor Asia Brown, all those partnerships. You know what? No, you know what was a really big event that I felt was important was um my good sis, her name is Marissa. Shout out to her over at Champion. When Champion was, Champion only has one flagship store in America, and it's the one here in Los Angeles. And when they contacted me to do the grand opening, that was a really big deal to me as well, for a lot of reasons, because it's Champion. The brand was so massive for so very long. They were doing it in my hometown. I was able to make sure like my artists here in LA, they were able to get their shine and stuff like that. So I think the Champion event was a really big thing for me as well. Yes.
So you've done so much, but yeah, those are just a few of the highlights throughout your very decorative career. Miss Diddy, I was actually watching your interview with Earn Your Leisure. Shout out to Troy and Rashad. Such a great in-depth interview. If you haven't watched it, make sure you guys go watch that. One of the things I love that you talked about was just you as a brand, right? And how your brand, how you negotiate your brand when you're negotiating these deals, right? So you have, a line item for yourself, right? Just when you are negotiating these deals and partnerships, they're not just paying for your expertise and the brand group to deliver and execute. They're paying for Miss Diddy, 100%. The brand, to deliver. So talk about how you even like quantify that, how you put a dollar amount on who you are and the value that you bring to any partnership.
You know what? I'm really happy that you brought that up, because one thing I'm not a girl of is like reading comments, right? I've just never been that type of like person. But it was important that I cleared some things up in the comments with people, because, the word of God says our people perish for a lack of knowledge, right? And meaning this, a lot of people understood what I was saying, right? That have that same like high level thinking. And then some people were like, what does she mean? You just spend money until, you have to put a dollar amount and a cap on marketing. And then it's like, no, you don't. And here's what I meant by that. I'm not speaking about just simply a brand giving my company money or hiring my company. I'm simply speaking from experience. How much marketing dollars I spend on Miss Diddy, how much marketing dollars I spend on the brand group. There's no cap I'm going to put to that, because my ROI is always a greater picture, which is, what does this look long term, right? I may spend money on flying to New York to have 2 meetings, stay at a hotel, pay for my car service and all of these things. These are marketing dollars, so that we're clear. These are quantified as marketing dollars. People can say what they want with their fancy words. So, and because this meeting that I went to spend my own money on to go have later on can turn into this massive partnership or this massive deal or whatever the case may be. So I'm saying that because I put my money where my mouth is when it comes to my brand presentation, my designs, my websites, all of that. Whatever Deanna Snow, who does my websites, whatever her invoice is, she sends, she gets paid. It's not a thing about it. And these are all marketing dollars to present well for visibility. That's the ROI for me. You know what I'm saying? And so the quantifying the Miss Diddy line item, it's not the same across the board. It can't be. There's different partnership levels. There's different things that are going on, And so I think when people start to really understand what they're worth, because you won't fully understand your real worth, because it's almost set in like forward thinking times. So you're not just paying, oh, Miss Diddy is showing up. No, if Miss Diddy introduces you to anyone, the level of now, that connection that you have now with that person supersedes if you just met that person and shook that person's hand. You have to pay for that. My resources, my relationships, what I had to do to build those relationships, The person that's coming to hire me didn't have to do that. That's why they're coming to me. The relationship, the equity I put in business relationships. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, say for instance, I have to go to Miami next week for some meetings. One of my partners down in Miami is Mike Headliner, who does Live on Sunday. We have some meetings we need to meet. I'm going to spend money to go do this. This takes money to make money. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that when you start to really live in your worth, then you become less afraid, because I wasn't always like that. And I didn't always know. And it ever evolves, because my relationships are ever evolving. My resources are ever evolving. My brand is ever evolving. And so, you know, I also don't put a cap on that. That Miss Diddy line item goes crazy sometimes. It has to, you know, because here's the thing. You hire me, Selena, right? You hire my company. I can introduce you to someone that can do a deal that changes your life tomorrow. And I will never see money off of that. I will never see anything off of that. So that has to be justified in my line item, because that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? The people I get it in their deals, I may not see anything off of that. But that became because they're like, oh no, I met you at Miss Diddy's event, or I met you at Miss Diddy. That changes. You're gonna get your meeting right away.
That changes the conversation because of your experience, 100%. Your background, and your reputation. So
and the equity I've placed in those relationships. People, you have no clue what people do in people's lives and what people do for people. I'm the person that everyone calls for everything, to get everything done. So that's something that it has to be, you know, it has to be quantified. It has to.
So you're saying people in the comments, they didn't understand that, or were they hating, was it?
But you know what? Some people do, right? And people that say, know my brand, follow my company, understand my work. And some people, they don't understand it, because you can only meet someone to which they met themselves. So I can't expect someone to understand my experience in life if you haven't experienced what I've experienced. You understand what I'm saying? Like me say, oh yeah, I started with Kanye. No, it's in the studios with Ye while he made albums. Like the experience that I have and the things that I've experienced throughout my career, if you're getting that, that has to be paper. So a lot of people don't understand, because someone may just work at an agency, right? And they're just a regular based agency. I'm a full lifestyle brand. There's not that many agencies that has a Miss Diddy running the actual company. So that's totally different too, you know?
You are a brand and an entity in yourself, outside of your company.
Exactly.
You are a brand, and you put a lot of energy, dollars, and effort into cultivating your brand and maintaining it. And you communicate that.
And maintaining it. And being consistent at a high level for so long. That is not easy. Some people have that. First of all, life goes like this, right? That none of us none of us will ever escape the ups and downs of life. That's real life. In my career, I've stayed at such an insane high level, great pace, partnerships, events, my own brand, interviewing with you with Black Enterprise, just being on Earn Your Leisure, all of these things at a consistent level for over 10 years. People don't do that in their careers. And this is just forward facing. We're not even talking about what I do on my community level, on my family. Like, you know what I mean? We're not talking about what I do in my church. You know what I mean? I'm paying full. My tithes are paid. You know? So, you know, it's people that haven't experienced where I've been in life, the rooms I've sat in, the tables I've sat at, which I understand, but that's why they can't understand what I'm saying.
Girl, I gotcha. And I'm so happy that you put so much emphasis on the power of relationships and the equity. That's what you called it. You know, the equity in relationships. Can you talk about what is it that you do to, first of all, get a relationship and cultivate a relationship with high-powered people, you know, from executives to A&Rs to millionaires, billionaires? How do you
Sure.
even get those relationships? And then what are you doing to maintain them?
That's a really great question. And I think that it's layered to answer, but that's an incredible question. Meaning, I don't just walk up to someone and say, "Hey, I want to be your friend. Let's get to know each other." That's not it. But my life being led by what God tells me to do puts me in positions that I'm always going to be and deal and meet and be with the person I need to be with in work and business and life, whatever. And so what you have to know is that you have to be a trustworthy person. Being trustworthy is king. That is the key to, first of all, to building high level relationships. You know what I mean? There's things that people confide in me with that they may never tell a soul. And I hold it near and dear to my heart that I have that type of trust with people. I'm also just who I am. I'm not trying to be anybody else. I'm who I am. I am a hometown home girl from the hood who worked my ass off, made it out, did what I did, take care of my family, take care of the people around me. And people see that. The real recognize the real. So I'm also not trying to be anything else than exactly who I am. I'm also really good to people. If I'm able to do it, because I grew up in an era in my career of relationships. So during, Kenny Burns, I talk about a lot in my interviews, largely in part to the fact of, and Gay was like this too. Kenny Burns will introduce me to anybody. He's big in relationships. Like it's building the relationship. Oh, this is my little sister, Miss Diddy. She needs this, or you need this, or whatever the case may be. And so when you're good to people and you do good work, that trumps everything. It just does, and you just got to be who you are. People get around people and they try to become some other, I don't even know. It's like, it's not even who you are. And people see through that and it's uncomfortable and you're weird. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and what I do to maintain it is just that, just being good to people. You know what I mean? Being good, being transparent, being trustworthy, and being there for people. I've been a part of really big intimate moments with people, with some people's favorite whatevers, because I've always been trustworthy,
Right.
So yeah.
Right. No, I love that. And I love how throughout this interview and so many of your other interviews, you always talk about God. I wanted to ask you, what role has your faith played in your career? I know earlier you said it was God who told you to leave your good job and, figure out what your next steps were in real time. What role does faith play now today in your business decisions, hiring decisions, partnerships, etc.?
Faith is everything in my life, my world, my personal, my business, everything. It's how I lead, my life, and it's how I've gotten to where I am. And I align it with the bravery of it, because my bravery in business surely comes from, my faith in God. And I think that people don't really understand how faith works all the time. And, in the word of God, it says, he only needs you to have faith of a mustard seed. And then he'll move mountains. Like the concept of all you have to have is like this much faith and he'll move mountains. Like that's a real thing. Like that's the only thing he requires of us, and my faith is what catapults me at every level of my business. And also something that I wish people understood about the mind of God is that the only thing that God says he can't change or do anything about, and his hands are tied, is our free will. That means that he knows how strong our mind is. Imagine if this God, whatever God someone believes in, Allah, God, you understand what I'm saying? Jesus Christ, whatever. I believe in Jesus Christ, but whatever. If all he's saying is that I can't even touch your mind. I can't make you do, your free will is so powerful. I literally can't touch it. Do you know how powerful our minds are? If God says that, like, this is what we don't understand. Like, as people, we really could do anything we want. We're really superhumans because the omnipotent God said, I can't touch your mind, can't touch your free will, I literally can't change, I can't do anything about it. And all I need is you to trust me this much. And I'll move mountains, you know? So I live my life off of that, which people think that that's an easy thing. It's not. When you're called to a different everything in life, everything I do in life, I have to be so careful about. I have to be so careful, you know? So it's not fair all the time. It's not easy. It's very tough. You know, I paid a heavy price in life for my anointing with God. It didn't just come and I was like, oh yeah, I'm Miss Diddy and I'm gonna do this. Like, no, you know. And so my faith, it leads across the board, everything in my life. And also every time he calls me higher and expects more of me, there's more tests, there's more challenges, there's more uphill battles that I have to go through, you know what I mean? Or there's more that he demands of me, which he might not demand of somebody else. So I rely heavily on my faith to get me through everything in life, because life changes all the time for everybody.
Mm. I mean, as the scripture says, to whom much is given, much is required.
Much is required. And you know what? In business, I've had these conversations. Sorry, my hair. I've had these conversations with my close friends that are super high on the food chain. Like, listen, when your wins are big, like when your wins are so big and so high, what do you think your lows are going to be? People don't, what? You think that people out here winning and they just winning and this shit? No, you have no clue what those lows look like. You have no clue. Like, those lows are in, like, for real. And so when it says much is given, much is required, that's what it means. Like, you're gonna win this high, and you think that when you get a L or a low, it's not gonna be low. This is where I gotta test you. It's low. So for sure.
Yeah, that's powerful. Thank you for the word.
I know how I brought and gave y'all the church sermon. Yes.
Yes, you did.
Yes, baby. Yes.
Yes, praise him. So another thing that I definitely want to touch on with you, you know, you have a knack for marketing, you're a marketing genius. You've done so much in LA and across the country. What would you say is the future of cultural branding and marketing moving forward?
Incredible question. I think the future of it is the continual of the conversations we're having now. I think that with George Floyd's murder, Breonna Taylor's murder, Ahmaud, like all of these things that have happened, is the continual conversation. A lot of content will come out of these times. I was actually having a dinner with a great friend of mine who's a high published over at Netflix. And, you know, there's a lot of content that's going to come out of these times. There's a lot of shift that we pray to see that will happen in our lifetime, but we have to keep our foot on the gas with that. So I think really what it is continuously being bold, right? And in whether it's the deals that you're doing, demand it all. Like, I want it all because I'm supposed to have it all. Having that type of energy, not backing down from things, being comfortable with saying no, and really continuously being bold in this time and demanding people to live up to what they say they're going to do. I remember when Black Panther came out, and I was in the middle of a deal, negotiating a deal actually for myself. I mean, production and networks have always wanted to do a show on my company, my life, all the things, like, it just makes sense, right? And so I remember in the middle of one of the deals that I was negotiating for this, and I remember when I saw that Black Panther did $1 billion, I lost my mind. I think I turned into like Dame Dash or something in that meeting, because I was so turned, like, yo, you're not gonna tell me that we're not as important as we are, and I'm not playing about it. And I'm willing to tell you no, and I'm willing to call you on all of it. And I think that's the vibe and the energy that we have to continuously have. Not everybody will, right? But I think that's important to have that, so that we can continuously knock down the doors and get what's really rightfully ours. You know, like, my incredibly close friend, sister, soulmate in life is Tamika Mallory, right? And she's extremely, vocal, and not even just vocal, because she really lives her, like, this is a real thing for her. It's not, I have to be like, no, you need to sleep. You need to, like, you can't take that on right now. Like, legit arguments, because we're that close about life, right? And so I say that to say, like, the energy that I understand has to continue to go forward. I understand that. And it's really going to take us being bold, being brave, really demanding everything we're supposed to have, and then keeping our control to the best of our ability, which we don't have all of it, but yeah.
I love that. Hold on. So Miss Diddy, just to backtrack a little bit, is there a reality show in the works for you?
Girl, no, not now, child. I can't do it. I can't do it, child. I mean, I think the conversation will always come up, right? You have this young Black woman from the hood, like, really dominating, the entertainment space in Hollywood. Like, there's only one Hollywood in the world. You know what I mean? Like, I think that I have a very unique
story. Your story's made for TV.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so I think it'll always come up. If it really actually makes sense, then it'll be. But that's not something I'm forced, because I've always had high offers and pitches for it, but it has to make sense, and it just has to make sense on so many levels. So it's not something there's been a time in life I've said no, but I've done reality TV. I've done Love and Hip Hop before, and Came and Show and stuff like that, which I forget until someone brings it up when I'm in the airport. But I wouldn't say no now, but it's definitely not top of line, because I like to just work and work how I like to work. So
that is so interesting. And that leads me to my next question. What leads you to say yes to certain brands and certain deals? Sure. And what would make you say no? Because it does seem like we've seen you on Love and Hip Hop and K Michelle's show, like you just mentioned. It does make sense for us to see you have a reality show and just cameras following you around on your day to day.
But you know what's the gift and the curse about that is, like, same thing I spoke about being trustworthy. It's funny because my Instagram can make it seem like there's a lot that I show. 80% of it I don't. Because when you're a trustworthy person, like, you're not around people, you just bust out the cameras like, hey, y'all, we got the cameras coming in, and so I'm really sensitive about that. But what makes me say yes or no, what makes me say yes is makes sense on so many levels, right? There's, we're not different. First of all, I don't like to be micromanaged. So if a brand comes to me and wants to hire my company, and the people that say, "Did we trust you?" and they do this, that's the indicator that I will want to work with that person. So then it's like, hey, let me know everything you guys want. What is important to you guys to accomplish? What's top of line? What's top of business? All those things, I'll get that done. But what makes me say no, 9 times out of 10, it's integrity based. It could be so many things, you know what I mean? But it's always probably integrity based, because at this point in my career, everyone knows I don't play about money. So that's not like you're not getting to Miss Diddy at all without that level being, that's okay. But it'll be something, based around integrity or what they're doing. I don't really believe in it, or the reason behind it, or how they're pushing it, or things like that, and it doesn't align with my business model and my bigger picture. So I've been like that since the inception of my career, which I'm very grateful that I was able to do that. I mean, because first season of Love and Hip Hop in Hollywood, I'm the one that I was casted initially, like, Mona Scott Young is who she is to me. And, I was like, hey, you guys really should bring Tierra Marie on this one, Omarion on this one. Like, there's a lot. And then things, how they do sometimes in these shows. And I said, Mona, I'm out. Get me out. And and I did in a respectful manner. And her and I've always had an incredible relationship based on that. People get loud and I'm leaving, and it's like, you're still on there, and it's like, no disrespect anybody else. But for me, I knew money wouldn't make me just stay somewhere if my integrity is in question. That's not what I would do. So a lot of things are integrity based, or it doesn't align with my bigger picture.
Yeah. So Miss Diddy, we covered so much ground. We did. The last thing we have to ask is just what is next for Miss Diddy, and what else do you aspire to achieve?
What is next? You know, I'm in Los Angeles, so it's beautiful to be here because it's always something that happens or comes about. We do have Super Bowl coming up. So lining up some things for that, some things that are a bit proprietary. So it'll be coming out very soon. We do them. You know, definitely events in a safe space, right? Because COVID is a real thing. And so I'm very sensitive to that, and making sure my team is safe and things like that. But and also amplifying and evolving the way an event is presented. So I have some really incredible, crazy, beautiful ideas that will come to fruition this year with Toast to Young Hollywood, which I changed to Toast to Black Hollywood. But with that event, we're gonna have some really evolving, incredible ways of really amplifying an event and like really doing things inside the space, experiential. So I'm looking forward to that, and also just continuously, you know, building at my own pace, not forcing anything, and allowing things to come to me, which, you know, they will. And speaking to young, beautiful Black women like yourself.
Yes, but we love it. We'll continue to look out. Please let us all know how we can tap in and follow and continue to be inspired by everything that you pour out into others.
Thank you. Definitely Miss Diddy across the board, MissDiddy. My company is The Brand Group LA on Instagram and Twitter and all that good stuff. And yeah, just continue to follow and look out. And thank you to you. Thank you to Black Enterprise for always supporting my career and everything that we do. You guys made sure you covered, you know, when the mayor and I provided masks for all the senior citizen homes in Compton as soon as the pandemic hit. And, you know, you guys have always been really great in supporting what my company does. So love to you guys. Love.
Oh, that love is reciprocal. We love you right back. Continue to inspire and do the work that you're doing. And thank you so much for your time.
Of course.